always seems impossible until it is done. Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela was absolutely right when he told those words. Because when you work more on something, you will become more experienced. And this experience leads you towards your success. Hello everybody. If you are watching this video lesson, then you are on the right way for reaching your success. Keep following us and make your learning process more effective. You know, we have finished the strategies to write about the column and the line graph. But often you can be asked to describe more than one chart for writing task 1. Unfortunately, time and word requirements are not changed. You still have 20 minutes and the report must contain no less than 150 words. It may sound a tough task for you, but don't worry. I'll show you several ways to figure out the difficulties of making a report for more than one chart by using the column and the line graph in our previous lesson. Now take your pens, pencils, and a notebook to write down all the necessary tips that you will learn in this video. I'm sure you are ready. Let's get started.
The beginning part for any report or essay is the introduction. Remember that introduction must be clear and strong. It is what the examiner gets the first impression from. And I hope that you are aware of the power of the first impression. If it is positive, the examiner's opinion on your writing becomes good. If it is negative, the examiner thinks that your writing skills are poor. Try to start with a bright introduction. In today's video tutorial, we will learn to write about 2 charts in the introduction part. Yes, you are familiar with both of them, because we have written the introduction and the body parts for each of them separately, and today we will learn how to write a report if they come together. And the column graph is about the Japanese tourists traveling abroad from the 1985 to 1995, and the line graph shows the percentage of Australia's share of Japan's tourist market in that decade. I think everything is clear. Now let's turn to the examples of the introduction. The first one. The charts illustrate data on figures of Japanese travelers in abroad between 1985 and 1995. The Australia's share in Japan's tourist market during the same period. And this is the next one. The charts reveal information regarding the numbers of Japanese tourists in foreign countries from 1985 to 1995, and the share of Australia in Japan's tourist market in the same years. Here is more complex and effective introduction. Listen to me. Given is a column graph revealing the figure of Japanese tourists traveling faraway places in the decade between 1985 and 1995, while the line graph shows Australia's share in Japan's tourist market in those 10 years. These are the instructions for you, and you must write them down in your notebooks by pausing the video lesson. Now we can move into body parts. In body parts, we must describe each of charts one by one and compare where relevant. This is about the column graph. Overall, it can be seen that the number of Japanese travelers was approximately 5 million in 1985. The figure went up gradually until it reached 11 million in 1990. Then it saw a slight fall to just higher than 10 million in the second year of the new decade. Then it again grew, and the last 2 years experienced a faster increase than previous 9 years in the question, by indicating somewhere in the vicinity of 13.8 million and 15.7 million tourists respectively. Let's turn to the second body part, and it is for the line graph. The percentage of Australia's contribution in Japan's tourist market meanwhile increased from a negligible 2% in 1985 to nearly 5% in 1988. Then it decreased slightly to just over 4% in 1989. That was followed by a period of market growth, reaching a peak of almost 6.5% in 1993. However, it ended up with exactly 6% in 1994. Okay, e-learners, we have looked through the model answers for introduction and body parts. And now the only thing we must do is writing an ending for our report. Here I have 2 model endings, but you can make your own variant, maybe more perfect one. My answers are for only giving you some instructions. So this is the first example. Noteworthy is the fact that both charts showed growing trend except from mere reductions in 1991 and 1989 respectively. Because if you can remember that the trends in the both charts grew except from the 2 years. For example, in the column graph, the reduction was in 1991. And in the line graph, the declining occurred in 1989. Therefore, I have mentioned those 2 years. And this one is the last material for you in this lesson, and it is the second example for the ending. Just look at it. In the final year, the column graph remained in growing trend as its numbers climbed to just over 15 million, while the line graph saw its point scores reverse and drop to 6%. So here I have highlighted the last change in the line graph because it grew and grew through the all years in the period, but the last time scale showed us that there was a reverse and a little drop to 6% in the last year in the question. Okay. It's again the homework for you, because doing homework is more important than teaching you. You must write a whole report for both of those graphs. The first one is line graph and the second one can be column graph. And I think it won't be so difficult for you now because you have learned all the strategies and useful tips for how to describe more than one chart in the writing task 1. Let me read the question for you. The first graph below shows the weight in tons of fruit produced by farm during each month in 2013. And also the amount in tons of fertilizer used. The second graph shows the volume of rainfall in each month in millimeters. So you must write a report summarizing the information. You should select and describe the main features and make comparison where relevant. Don't forget that you have 20 minutes and you must write at least 150 words. Good luck with your homework. So it is the end of today's lesson, and leave your ideas on comments and don't hesitate to share my channel. Keep watching AZ Lessons by Javron Bektaş Boltaev and see you next time. Bye.